Welcome into another episode of Inside the Expo. And today I have some wonderful guests who have recently won some prestigious awards at FSGA, and they have a wonderful, wonderful product I want you to hear about. But first, all right. So now I can introduce you guys. We've got Renee Miller and then Dave. How do you pronounce your last name?
Sukoff.
Sukoff. I had a strong feeling that was it. From Franchise League Football. How are you guys doing today?
Great. Thank you so much for having us, Amber.
Thank you for coming. I'm really excited to talk about this because as I was doing my due diligence and research, it makes me feel like this is like career mode on any video game you've ever played. Is kind of what I feel like. I don't know, Renee, if that is something that you would refer to it as, or if you want to go ahead and just jump in and tell us a little bit about the product you guys have created.
Sure. Our first sport is football. It's a fantasy football game designed with more strategy, where decisions have really long-lasting impacts on your franchise management. And I think of it kind of as a combination of DFS and dynasty. So I've played in a lot of really stale dynasty leagues where you basically have a massive roster and you keep everybody and you do a rookie draft, and that 15 minutes is really exciting. But otherwise, it's pretty stale. So this is a lot more dynamic. It incorporates a salary cap where each player has a contract. Some of those are good, some of those are bad. When you buy your franchise to start a season, when you start a league, you inherit those contracts, and it's up to you to decide which ones to keep, which ones to jettison. And then you get to round out your roster, of course, through free agency and restricted free agency auctions, all while staying under that salary cap. So you have a little bit of the financial pressure, but also have to think long term and balance how are you going to manage that salary cap, not just this season, but 2, 3, 5 years down the road.
I mean, that's pretty intense. It's we're always looking for something to add to our leagues and add to our gameplay, I think, in fantasy sports, especially in fantasy football, because again, I agree with the staleness of some dynasty leagues. So I'm really excited to introduce people to this at the expo this year. And I mean, Dave, you've been playing a version of this for more than 20 years. What made you decide to turn this into a platform that everyone could play?
Yeah, it's funny. What been playing it for 25 years since I was at MIT. A group of us just said, kind of like Renee pointed out, you need something a little more advanced and completely different. You're running a franchise, not just setting a lineup. And I guess for all of those 20 years, whenever we explained it to other people, here's what we're doing, they said, I want to play. I mean, everyone wants to play it when you talk about it, but it requires a little more than what current apps can handle. So if we play on any of the current apps, there's still a spreadsheet or whatnot to manage the contracts in the background. And finally, Renee and I were talking about it, and she said something similar, like, I'm tired of writing about who to start this week. Let's really advance the game. And I was working with a software company and said we can turn this into an app that other people can actually use and revolutionize the game.
And I bet that, that the back end has to be really quite intricate to be able to manage all of these features, right? I mean, that's the complications that people don't understand when they go to build something that they believe in and something that they've been doing. So I guess that leads into Renee. So like your background is pretty unique for fantasy sports. From my understanding, you were a neuroscience professor. So how did that tie into? And then again, Dave, you at MIT. Like, how does that tie into fantasy sports? And I'm assuming numbers, math, of course, right? You're probably good at those. But have you always been playing fantasy sports, Renee? And like, how did that tie in?
Yeah, I've played fantasy sports before I was a neuroscience professor, so that goes back. But it wasn't until I was teaching a neuroscience course on cognitive biases that I really thought about how decision making could be suboptimal and how we could be making all kinds of mistakes with our fantasy teams, just because we're making like biased decisions. So I dove into that a little bit more. I ended up writing a book called Cognitive Bias in Fantasy Sports. is your brain sabotaging your team? Um, and that got some traction. Like, people in the industry were excited to have that sort of insider neuroscience, psychology type perspective on this game that we all know and love. And yeah, and that got me really interested in thinking about um, strategy and problem solving. And that led to my interest in Dave's form of fantasy football, which I thought, really scratched that itch to have, more complex problems to solve, and to, be able to have those decisions have consequences, good and bad. I mean, you win your league last year, and now what? Now you have to start over. You don't get rewarded at all, outside maybe of a, you know, lame.
A nominal, yeah, a nominal, payout, or I mean, unless you're in the big leagues, which I
Yeah.
refuse.
Yeah.
So, that's wonderful to hear. So, psychology has been an interest of mine in sports in general, because I mean, we are making biased opinions. I mean, who wins the trade? You don't want to win per se, all of these things. So, where can people find that book if they're looking for it?
Oh, it's on a whole bunch of places. It's linked in my Twitter bio at Renee Miller 01 is probably the easiest place. It's got lots of outdated references about guys like Tim Tebow, and it only costs $3. So you're not wasting your money. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so actually, while we're talking about where we can find you, so Dave, where can we find you? Let's talk about it now. Like, if you haven't liked and subscribed the Inside the Expo or the Expo YouTube, do that now, so that way you can continue to see all of these wonderful brands putting out just amazing products. And where can we find you guys? Let's get that in there now.
Yeah, just the first place, go to our website, franchiseleaguefootball.com. You can read about how to play. There's a sandbox, so you can do essentially a free live demo and play around with the different features. But the app is live in the Apple Store and Google Play.
All right, and then on Twitter, we already heard Renee's. Are you on Twitter as well, Dave?
I'm on as well through Franchise League Football is on
Right.
Twitter. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Keep it simple, right? If you can get that full name for yourself, it's a wonderful thing. It's
Yeah,
quite
we're,
difficult.
we're at FLF_fantasy.
Very nice, perfect. And we do have a lot of people from Twitter. We're working into the other social medias, getting more fans involved. So, if you haven't followed us on all of the other social medias, TikTok, all of the things, we're out there. So, I want to pivot real quick to FSGA. As I mentioned in the beginning of this interview, it's such a wonderful experience to win at FSGA, to win awards, because it's everyone else in the industry voting for you, right? So, Dave, I heard you were the one there in February.
No,
You guys
it was
did
Renee
win.
actually.
That was
Huh.
me.
Oh, was it? Oh, Renee, it was you, and then
Yeah,
you'll be in Philly, right?
I'll
Okay.
be in Philly. Yes.
Yes, I will meet you in Philly then.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about that experience, about winning, and which award was it that you won at FSGA?
Yeah, it was super exciting and unexpected. There were so many young companies there, so many established companies there. So it's very, very inspiring, just to be part of it. And then when we ended up winning the best product experience in the startup category, that was like a dream come true, because that's what we set out to do last year, was build an excellent product. And we played it all season. I already have declined an invitation to be in the Queen's Classic, because I only want to play franchise league football. It's honestly, I just think it's a better game, and to have that recognized by the industry meant everything.
Oh, absolutely. And then I'm sure Dave, you'll be, or no, well, at the expo there is an FSJ meetup that they started doing last year, so we'll be at the Canton Vault. If you're not a member, if you have a company or business you want to become a member of FSJ, it's a wonderful place to get advice. Just learn about all the different avenues in the industry that there are in fantasy sports and gaming. So, that'll be a good time for all of us to meet up, and I'll get to hang out and talk as well. So, all right. So going back to the app, right? So how do contracts and salary cap management change the way managers value players? Because it's like there's a value. The way we value in Dynasty is so different than what this will be, right? When you have your 100 million in salary cap, and if anybody wants to jump in on that.
Yeah, the whole goal here is to act like a general manager. I mean, that goes back to your earlier questions. The revolution of the game is that you're a GM, and so when we have our annual auction for players for the free agents, you're setting a contract. So a player is out there, they're bid on, and you win them for $12 million. That's their salary for the next 3 years. So, and the third year is an extension year. So every decision you make, every salary that's set has an impact on your cap that's long term.
It's crazy because it's so revolutionary for I'm a big advocate for women getting in the game, and that's kind of I started doing this for fun and then realized that there's many places to work in the industry, and women, this will be a great opportunity for women to understand how the structure of football from the ground up actually looks and from the top down. So not just women, but everyone, right? Anyone who doesn't understand how players are acquired or with trade. So I mean, you've built something. Just I mean, it's I really do believe that it's going to change the way we look at everything. So it's very exciting.
And women are so good at all these complex decision making, keeping all these balls in the air, right? We manage our households, and it's very similar to that. You have to prioritize, where is your money going to go? And I've been a longtime fan and writer, analyst, proponent of daily fantasy sports because I like solving that problem. And this just stretches out the time scale. Like, you have to go studs or duds, or you have to go like all middle of the road, and figuring out, what's best this year. And is that sustainable the next year? Or do you have to scrap it all and start over? It's super fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited to check it out. So what was the biggest challenge that you? I mean, I'm sure there were so many challenges, but what was probably one of the biggest challenges that you guys faced while you were creating this?
I think part of it is, I guess, explaining, right? It is so revolutionary. It's not we're just fixing this little piece or that little piece to make regular fantasy football better. It's a new game. And you referred to before, Renee being a professor of neuroscience. I went to MIT, but it's not that complicated. We don't want it to be like this is something that's difficult to learn. It's just something new. And if you're a fan of football or a fan of fantasy and you understand how a GM works and you're trying to build a long-term franchise, you'll understand it. So I think the biggest hurdle is getting people to just grasp the concept and say, this is what I want to play. I mean, once you understand the game, it's all you're going to want to play. You really, it becomes very difficult to play regular redraft.
Oh, I believe it. You guys are gonna laugh at me because I'm thinking of, like, guys, when I first started digging in, I was thinking of 2007 WWE SmackDown versus Raw, where I'm building this career and I'm building this entire. It's so funny because that's the first game that popped in my head. Granted, I haven't played video games in a long time, so that's probably why. But I'm thinking of how awesome it was to just build out a career in an entire, franchise of the WWE, when I was involved in that. But that's
Well,
a
that's where
long.
the name came from. From really, it's a video game concept where you're playing, let's say, Madden in franchise mode. It enhances the game so much. Whereas regular Madden is you're playing one NFL game. That's DFS. That's even just regular fantasy football. But in franchise mode, it's a whole new game and vastly better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm excited. There's so many. Well, okay, so that leads me into the expo. So this is your first year going. What made you decide to go this year, and what are some of the things you're looking forward to while you're there?
I mean, these are some of the most diehard fans in the country, and we wanted to get our game in front of them, and show these like super dedicated, super smart, really strategic, long term players what we're about, because that's really the player that we had in mind when we designed the game. Like, I know Dave said, like, everybody can do this, no doubt. But the people who have been analyzing every little in and out of fantasy football for the last 20 years are going to love this. and
Yes.
and yeah, this is our time. Last year we focused on product, and this year our focus is really on gaining some national attention, and a bigger audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys know anything about the expo? Like, has anybody given you any insight to Friday, Saturday night? Like, Dave, are you looking forward to any of the events? Like, have you guys taken a look into it?
I'm looking forward to everything, meeting people and spreading the word about our game. I've never been to the Hall of Fame, so that's actually an exciting part of it for sure.
Yeah, I'm really excited. This year they are remodeling, like Hall of Fame Village is being remodeled, but they are, when I was 24, some of the volunteers that work there explained that they were going to be really revamping the Hall of Fame in the next couple years. So I think 28 is we're going to see a really drastic change in the hologram situation and being able to like take pictures with your like Hall of Fame teams, your favorite team, and just some really cool stuff. And I hope that that still remains true. I didn't end up making it last year because things got a little busy last year, but but yeah, it's a really awesome place to go. And then they're also building a water park for next year as well. So water park and resort.
Wow.
So very family friendly as well. So okay, so let's see. So are you going to expand this into other sports? Or are we just going to we're going to stick with football, obviously do one thing, do it well, but are there any other sports that you're immediately looking into diving into once this goes well?
Yep. We are already planning to start building our second sport. There are some, so our parent company is Franchise League Sports, and Franchise League Football is our first game. Um, there are some sports that really lend themselves to this salary cap contract management format better than others. And to me, golf is the preeminent one. There's such a difference in skill level between, we'll be generous and not just say the top one golfer in the world, but the top five golfers in the world in both men's and women's professional leagues. And so that makes a redraft fantasy golf game basically impossible because you either have the 101 pick or you don't. And if you
Yeah.
don't, you lose. So with the salary cap, now if you have to spend $90 million on Scotty Scheffler, then what's the rest of your squad going to look like, right? Like somebody's going to do it, but how's that going to play out? So I think golf is a really natural for this fit, and that's what we'll be starting to build in the fall. But beyond that, absolutely, we want to do soccer, we want to do basketball, baseball, you
I
name
can't imagine though, but it's I mean, all three of those sports are there's so many games. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see how you guys build that out. I mean, baseball, I can't even think about looking at fantasy baseball. I don't know if you guys play or write about fantasy baseball, but it's
I
not
have
in my
gradually
purview.
whittled my way down. I've done it all, but yeah, the baseball schedule is intense for sure.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. I'm already succumbed to the football world. Here we are, you know. So, all right. Well, I mean, golf. That's not what I expected. I did not expect that to be your next game. So that's exciting. I mean, golf is really ramping up too. I mean, it's always been.
Everyone loves it, but there's no fantasy game.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is a perfect way to do it. I mean, because how can you do fantasy golf? Like it doesn't, it's so that's really, really interesting.
Right. It's not
Okay.
not just the a salary cap which helps solve that problem, but it's the long term nature of it that you have multi year contracts. So you're trying to build a franchise of golfers. It would make it very interesting.
I love it. That's gonna be fun for you guys. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I was like, I'm gonna stay in touch. Let's see how that goes along the way. So, okay, so we talked about the expo. Let's see. Where else should we head? So you can download the app. If we go to the website, we talked about that. So downloading the app, and you're on Google and Apple Store already.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So then everybody can go and download there. I will make sure I include that link here within the description as well, so everybody has both links. And all right, so let's do it. Let's talk a little fantasy football right now. Let's talk about. I always ask everybody a crazy hot take. I know as we get closer to the season, it's less crazy because we have a little bit more information. Do you either one of you have a hot take on either a team, a player, or fantasy? It could be fantasy related or not. I just kind of want to throw that in there. I always write them down and check them out later.
Go
I know
ahead,
I'm putting you on the spot.
David.
I'll start. My hot take is a biased one because that's what happens when you start playing FLF. You think about your own franchise. And I had Brian Thomas Jr. on a minimum contract as a rookie, and he exploded. had the worst sophomore slump, I think, in the history of wide receivers. So my hot take is that he's just vastly too talented to be drafted where I think he currently is in regular redraft. There's maybe ranked wide receiver 30 something. I think he's a top 10 talent at wide receiver, and my hot take is he'll be right back in there. So I'm going to keep him on my roster this year.
Absolutely. I actually agree with that. And I love when players drop just due to consensus and where people are drafting them at, within these algorithms in these apps, right? So, Renee, do you have any hot takes for us?
I have a couple. I'm a Rochesterian living in Rochester, New York, so we're like super Buffalo fans here, and every year heartbroken. So I'm going to go out on a limb this year and say the Bills won't make the Super Bowl. Uh, and and then if I bet that and I'm wrong, I'll be happy either way. Um,
Right.
and then I'll double down on my hot take from last year, which didn't work out very well. But the Raiders are going to be a team to watch and players to accumulate. I feel like they
I agree,
built
and I actually hope.
a very talented roster last year. So
Yeah, I felt bad for them quite a bit. I was living in California for 10 years, so I felt pretty bad for a lot of the my Raiders fans friends because as a Bears fan, my life changed last year.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
which is still weird. Still don't believe it, and I'm still pessimistic. So, we're gonna keep riding that
Bills
way.
and Bears fans have a lot in common.
Yeah. I was gonna say when you said it, I was like, I'm gonna do the same
Yeah.
thing. I don't think we're Super Bowl bound this year, but everybody's got faith, I guess. But Madden curse, et
Oh,
cetera, et cetera. So,
yeah.
okay, if there is one feature, this is random. So if there's one feature of the app that either one of you love, what's your favorite feature of the app? I know it's kind of probably hard to put a pin in one because it's all works together, but
Mine is the automatic injury substitution. This has been like my dream forever to be able to build this in because there's nothing more frustrating than when an injury just derails your entire week's matchup, and that's not how real football is played. If somebody gets hurt, that's not the end of the running back position for that team, right? There's somebody on the bench that steps in or the quarterback or whatever. So that's what we're going to offer this year. We didn't have it in our first season, but it is being built right now and will be ready for season two. So if your player gets hurt in the first half, you have an eligible player on your bench that can fill that spot. Their stats will count for the second half. And it makes sense and it takes some random luck out of the game and prioritizes skill. Again, like you have to have the right person on your bench in order for this to work for you. So,
I agree. And I love that. So,
I,
Dave, do
I
you have a
love it.
favorite feature?
Yeah, I do. Well, I love Renee's answer, and she might have taken mine. But from a technological and a game standpoint, I think it's the auction that we run. You're running this real time auction where it's blind bidding, and if you've never experienced before, it's just something amazing because you're not just bidding on a player for that year, you're bidding on a contract and a player that could be on your team for 3+ years. So whoever it is, Bijan Robinson comes up, everyone puts their bid, and when the timer expires, some franchise won him for a certain price, and obviously the others didn't, and now you have him under contract for 3+ years at that price.
That's really, I mean, like I
It's
said,
exciting.
yeah, I'm just really excited about this, and I hope everybody else watching is as well. And then when you guys, when you set up at the expo, do you have any games that are you going to offer like demo, or we're just gonna walk and talk? I'm just curious what the booth. I always wonder what booth setups are going to look like.
yeah,
Do you
no,
have an
we're,
idea?
we're going to have a demo for sure, an interactive demo that people can try out. We're going to give away t-shirts to the first 100 people that sign up and start a new league. We've got a great, nice black, very soft, very comfy FLF t-shirts to give away. So yeah, we're excited. We're at booth 23.
There we
Uh,
go.
you'll see us. We'll both be there.
Michael Jordan's number. It's a good number.
Hey, good
I'm
one.
not from Chicago. Don't worry. It's fine. No. No, well, I'm really excited to meet you guys in person. I'm really excited to have you guys here. And we also are offering this year something new. It's called a connection table. It'll be like a networking table at registration. So it'll be a way for us to kind of gather content creators and fans information. I mean, we already have people that have signed up, but people that are really looking into connecting and helping. So micro influencers, things like that, that could potentially help build brands and brands that might need that kind of help as well. So I will definitely talk and figure that out and see if we can get, one of you guys for a little while there at registration. And then we will, we're just going to try to be a concierge. The expo is, for everybody and connect everybody. So anybody that needs, a little help here, there, marketing, whatever the case is, that's what we're going to try to work on. So I'm looking forward to that. And do you have anything else you want to tell the fans or any other businesses out there about Franchise League Sports?
Try it and you'll never go back.
Right? once you play.
Very afraid, right? And then as soon as football ends, we're right into golf, January 10th or whatever. So
Fantastic.
there's a lot to look forward to at Franchise League Sports.
All right, wonderful. Well, I appreciate you both for joining me today, and I'll catch you guys in a month.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
Looking forward to it.
All right, nice to meet you.